When I first started learning about healthy eating, I thought it meant I had to do everything perfect. I thought it meant giving up the foods that I love. I thought it meant having to make different complicated recipes all the time and meal prepping and homemade everything. But now that I look back at it, I was making healthy eating way harder than it needed to be. Before I got into healthy eating, I honestly had no idea what healthy eating was supposed to look like. I didn't know anything about nutrition or ingredients. And so I relied so much on content, and I would spend hours every single day on YouTube watching all these influencers basically tell me what to eat and what not to eat and what foods were good and what foods to avoid. And I was trusting them. You know, if they said this protein bar is good, it's healthy, I would eat it. And I had really no idea if what they were saying was true. Also, they were making all these complicated recipes, that required a bunch of ingredients. And even though as a busy mom, like I didn't have time to make these recipes, like I was still attempting to do that. And that's what made healthy eating like so overwhelming. And I kept like asking myself, like, is this really what it's supposed to be? Like, I don't think I can maintain this, for long term. And then my second thing was Pinterest. Like I had this mentality that I had to make like different meals every single day. And so I would spend hours scrolling through Pinterest, finding all these different recipes, complicated recipes. And again, half the time I wouldn't even make them. And the other half, I would feel drained making them because it was not realistic. And then at the grocery store, like just seeing everything that's, being marketed as healthy. I had no idea like what to believe. A package said it was high in protein. Something said it was low in fats. Like I would buy it just, because of those marketing claims. And so everything just became so overwhelming. And eventually it just was not sustainable for me. And that's when I realized that I wasn't learning anything about food. I was learning what other people thought about it. And that's what led me to change my mentality. And I started searching for different content. And about 5 years ago, I stumbled across a creator who focused on something completely different than all the other influencers I had been watching. And that was ingredients. And honestly, like it felt like somebody had taken the blindfold off. And so once I started to learn about ingredients and actually know what they meant, that's when I realized that like half of the foods that I had been eating were not even healthy. Like all these protein bars and like healthy snacks that I had been watching all these influencers eat were not, made of good, clean ingredients. And so that was just very like eye-opening to realize how powerful it meant to know about ingredients and to be able to make those decisions for myself. Like I no longer had to rely on other people or marketing claims. Like I could decide that, based on the ingredients, if I'm at the grocery store, just taking a few seconds to look at the back of that label and read the ingredients has just made healthy eating sustainable and realistic. And so once I learned about ingredients and what they actually meant, I realized why I had been confused for so many years, because there's just so much content about this topic and so much conflicting information. Like there's influencers who are telling you like, don't eat this food, it's bad for you. But then somebody else is saying, no, eat it. Like I eat it every day. It's good for you. And so you just don't know like who to listen to. And also like a lot of content makes healthy eating feel almost impossible and unrealistic, because they're telling you that there's like certain foods that you have to make from scratch because, store-bought is bad and all the ingredients are bad. For example, like bread. I've seen a lot of content around making your own like sourdough bread, or mayonnaise, because, mayonnaise, store-bought mayonnaise has soybean oil, and so they're making their own mayonnaise. Or cookies and ice cream, like foods that you enjoy. if a busy, like full-time working mom is consuming this content, they're gonna have that mentality that like they have to give up all these foods they enjoy or else they have to make it from scratch. So it's like all these like all or nothing mentality. But once you know, have the power to make those decisions for yourself, that's when everything is going to change and it's going to make everything simple and it's going to help you create that healthy lifestyle that's realistic. And you don't have to worry about, you know, listening to what others are saying. And so now I know that I don't need perfect food. I just need food that works for my real life. And that means, you know, making simple meals that are going to take me 20-30 minutes when I'm in a rush because the kids have sports practice. As long as I'm making, you know, using real ingredients, whole foods, that's all that matters. I don't need to be making all these complicated recipes every single day. So just prioritizing whole foods, but then also knowing that on those nights when you just don't have the energy to cook something, you can rely on these foods that are generally considered like bad, as long as you're making that decision for yourself and you're looking at the ingredients and you can decide, hey, this is not 100% perfect. Like 1 or 2 ingredients are bad, but that's okay because, you know, we're not going to do this every night. This is just occasionally. You can get that boxed mac and cheese or those frozen chicken tenders, you know, to make your life easier, because that's what creating a healthy lifestyle is. It's something that you can maintain and you can enjoy. And it's not going to feel like a chore that, oh, you have to do it, you know, perfect every single day. Like just having that flexibility and knowing that you have that option of using those non-perfect foods, like that's going to make all the difference. But then again, you know, just knowing about ingredients has just given me the freedom to enjoy food and know that I don't have to, you know, stay away from all the foods that I actually enjoy. Like if I want to have cookies, I can still eat cookies because I'm looking for those better for me options, you know, or ice cream or whatever other food you enjoy that is, you know, consider bad. There's always, you know, a better option. And you don't always have to make it from scratch. So just remember that healthy eating doesn't have to be extreme. You don't need to make everything from scratch. You don't need to give up the foods you enjoy. You just need enough knowledge to be able to make those decisions for you and your family. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I make videos to help busy moms simplify real food and create everyday habits one day at a time. If that's something that interests you, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.